Hi everyone, I'm Jesse Lane, and today's presentation is all about matching gifts and especially how they can help you raise money during your giving day. Today's training is brought to you by NWA Gives. I love NWA Gives. I'm a huge fan and grateful for the way they invest in nonprofits. And I am a part of Branch's Mission Lab and goodmakerU. Branches is an agency, creative and marketing agency that comes alongside nonprofits and ministries to help you grow, reach more people, and raise more funds. And goodmakerU is all about educating and equipping nonprofits to do more good and make more good, right? And so that's what we want to do today. Today we're talking about matching gifts. And I think matching gifts are kind of like magic. I'm not very good at magic myself, but I can, take my thumb off if you can see that. My daughter loves that one. But matching gifts are kind of magical because they motivate everyone involved. And I'll talk more about that here in a second. But if you're not familiar with matching gifts and the power that they have, today, hopefully you'll get the 101 lesson of what they are, why they matter. But beyond that, and even if you are familiar with matching gifts, I hope today you are inspired by some really cool stories of the power of matching gifts used strategically as a part of a Giving Day fundraising strategy. All right, so with that, let's jump into the slides and talk about how these can motivate your donors and even yourself. All right, today we're gonna cover 5 things really. We're gonna start with what are matches, why matches matter, how to make the match, and then we're gonna actually talk about what's holding us back from making these types of matches. And then finally, I want you guys to hear some stories from others who've had success with matching grants. And first, I wanna tease out one of those stories. Specifically, I want to tell you about Kimberly. I want to introduce her to you. She, if you can see this picture here, is the one on the far left. This picture, it's not a good picture of anybody in the room. I apologize for that. I don't even know what I was thinking when I took this picture. There was some reason I took it, but the point is this photo was taken during a training cohort, a masterclass that I was teaching, and we were talking about how to raise money during a giving day. Kimberly, who I've circled here on the far left, on this day, she was, as you can tell, a little kind of distant, and I was a little nervous about that, and I asked her about it, and come to find out, she was feeling a little discouraged and overwhelmed. Let me back up and tell you about Kimberly. She is incredible. She has founded and started a school to serve kids in a unique and creative way. And if I were to describe Kimberly to you, I would tell you she's a visionary. She's creative, she's hardworking, very hardworking, and then she's a good maker, just like all of you, making good in the world as nonprofits. But on this day, she was coming out of a place that, according to me, it just felt like she was more not just visionary, but a really discouraged visionary and an uncertain creative, feeling overwhelmed. And I really noticed that and started to talk to her, and there was just a lot on her mind. There was a lot to do, right? As a nonprofit leader, you wear so many hats and you have to juggle all the things, especially if your organization is small and you don't have a huge team or a huge budget. And that was Kimberly. And fast forward, after this masterclass and through this giving day, and with matching gifts playing a big part of this, Kimberly was able to raise over 10 times more than she raised the giving day before. During NWA Gives before, she had raised $5,000. And she was hoping maybe she could up that a couple thousand. But through all of the strategies that we taught, and matching gifts being one of the big ones, she was actually able to raise $60,000 for her nonprofit, her small nonprofit. And you'll meet Kimberly later and hear more about her story. But I just want to encourage you that this works, and it can be transformational for your organization. So back to what we're going to cover. Let's start with what are matching gifts. In case this is a new idea for you, we want to start there. So matching gifts 101. Matching gifts are simply a charitable practice whereby a major donor or a group of maybe smaller givers offer to match donations given to an organization up to a certain amount. Okay, pretty simple, right? One donor or a group of donors says, we will match up to $20,000 or up to $5,000, whatever that may be, of gifts that come in through everyone else in the community. And so you may have heard matching grants, matching gifts. Sometimes these words are used interchangeably. An example would be when you've probably seen this or done this yourself, but you talk about a one-to-one match, which is for every $100 given, $200 will be, you'll actually be given $200 because it'll be matched one-to-one. And so there's one-to-one matches, there's two-to-one matches, there's sometimes 3, 4, 5-to-1 matches. By the way, the research says one-to-one is enough. Anything above that really doesn't make a huge difference. But a match is very powerful regardless. So it's worth mentioning to you that a match can be from a company or corporation. It can be from just one donor, maybe a major donor. It can be from a group of donors, like your board, which is my favorite place to get a match, by the way. Also, we're not talking about corporate matching programs as in where they match their employees' giving. That can be confused sometimes because it has some similar verbiage, but that's not what we're talking about today. Those are great, by the way. And also, sometimes you may hear the word challenge grant. And a challenge grant and a matching fund are sometimes used interchangeably. And just to be clear, what you want to make sure is that these gifts, that you know that the donor's intent is for those to either be conditional or non-conditional based on if they hit the number they set out. So what I mean by that is if a donor says, I'll give you $10,000 only if everyone else gives $10,000, then that's a conditional grant or conditional gift. And you may see this more common in a foundation, but it's actually more common in giving days that it's a non-conditional gift or grant saying that we'll match you and give you $10,000 even if you don't raise $10,000. We're going to go ahead and give you that full $10,000 because they care about your organization and they want to give you that amount. They're just using this to motivate others. So, but it's good to just know, make sure it's very clear what your donor intends for you to do with those dollars. All right, so why do matches matter? And why do they work? And this is maybe some of the most important things. And you've heard about matching gifts. You've probably maybe even tried it out. But I believe, and I've worked with probably hundreds of organizations on their giving day strategies. And I believe, I'm just putting this out there, that this may be the number one giving day growth strategy. If you're looking to grow your results, I think this might be the number one strategy. And there's a lot of good strategies out there. But I've seen this work time and time again. I've seen organizations go from $400 to $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 in a giving day, and matching gifts being a part of the reason that that happens. And so I want you to experience that same type of growth. Matching gifts, like I've said before, are like magic because they motivate everyone involved. Let me unpack that for you. The match is going to motivate the sponsor of the match, the person or organization giving it, because they feel like they're giving a more strategic gift. So that major donor or that group of donors, maybe your board, they're excited because they're giving something more strategic than just a simple donation. They're giving a matching donation that will be that will inspire others, and that's exciting. The other group that's going to be motivated, obviously, is the broader audience. Statistics have proven time and time again with research showing that a matching gift generates more response. People give more and more often if there is a match. And the statistics are, fluctuate year to year, but regardless of the year, they always work. And so I can guarantee you that just by having a match present, you're going to raise more money from your broader audience and community. And then the third group that it motivates is you, the fundraiser, the nonprofit, because you've publicly stated that there's a match. You're more likely to really fight to get those matching gifts and to fulfill the match. It's a great opportunity. You don't want to miss out on that. And so you are motivated as well. So a matching gift, like I mentioned, is very strategic. And I like to use that language when I'm talking with major donors. They love strategy and making their gifts go further. So talk about how a matching gift can do that. It also makes a donor feel like an insider, like they're someone special because they're giving a part of this matching gift. Even if it's a pool of lots of givers giving to this match, their gift is strategic and goes further. And then it also gives your givers, your donors, a reason to give now and not wait until later to give, because now their gift goes further, right? So if there's a match in play, they are more incentivized and excited to give now with some urgency, which is really important in fundraising. And then last, like I mentioned, you're going to be more motivated as a fundraiser because it's really easy to see if a match is met or not, typically. And so the public is watching, your board is watching, and you're going to be set on fire, ready to go raise that money to make sure that full match is fulfilled. So how do you do it? How do you make the match? Well, we could talk about this for hours. And if we were in our little cohort, we would. But today I just want to break it down to 3 simple, easy steps for you. And the good news is it really is pretty simple. Maybe it's not that easy because some of this takes a lot of courage, but it is simple. Really, step 1, identify your prospects. Who might be a good fit for this? And again, it could be your board, which I love a board match. It could be a major donor or 2. Maybe it is a lot of people who've given in the past, and you could reach out to them and kind of build a pool of matching gifts from maybe $500 each. It doesn't have to be a huge number to participate in a matching pool. So identify those prospects, make a list. Even if you've got them in your head, I would say write them down, document that list. That is going to help you stick with it and go ask all those people to be a part of the match. Number 2, ask them early to give this strategic gift. And when I say early, I mean before you've maybe published the campaign to the masses or started talking about it all over social media and email. Go to these people in advance and say, hey, we're about to launch this big campaign for this giving day or for this fundraising campaign or for this end of year campaign. And we would love to invite you in on this early to make a huge impact with the strategic matching gift. They feel already like they're an insider and like they get to be a part of making a bigger impact. They feel special, and we all want to feel special, right? So that's step 2. Step 3 is to promote it. Of course, you've got that matching gift now in hand, but no one may know about it yet. So you've got to promote it. You've got to email about it, put it on social media, call people, let them know. And the other thing is, I put this here on the slide, you may or may not want to be promoting the sponsor of the match. And the reason I say you may or may not want to is some people want to be recognized for that. Maybe it's a corporation and they want their logo everywhere to be proud that they are the matching sponsor. Others may want to be anonymous with that match. So make sure you understand the goals and the objective of your matching donors. And if they need to be recognized, recognize them and say thanks to them publicly. All right, so those are the 3 simple steps. And you may be thinking that's a little too simple, but it really is that simple. Matching gifts don't have to be complicated. And if you're afraid to do it because you're not sure how to do it, here it is. It's that simple. All right, 3 places to get you started right now. I always recommend starting with your board. Over and over again, I see boards make big matching pledges that say, we're going to cover half of all our goal and get this campaign kick-started with strength. And so I love it when that happens, because when a board is invested and really focused on a campaign, usually the campaign's going to perform well. So start with your board. You can also start with last year. If you did a campaign similar to this last year but didn't do matching, go look and see who gave at a mid-level or a major level. Maybe if they gave over $500, they'd be a good person to go and say, hey, would you be a part of this campaign again, but this time give a strategic matching gift, not just your gift like last time, although it was great. What if we did it earlier and made it a matching gift? And that's a great place to start. So these could be mid-level donors or major donors. And then lastly, go to past corporate sponsors. Corporations love the publicity of a matching gift. So if someone has already showed that they really love your organization and they align with your values, go to them and say, hey, would you like to be a part of this big campaign we have coming up as a matching sponsor? Those are 3 places to get started. Going to find those matching partners. Okay, so I want to start to close up with a real important question, and that's what's holding you back from doing this. Maybe you've heard about matching gifts before. Maybe you're thinking about it now. What's going to hold you back? Well, there's 4 P's that my friend and colleague Ben Richards has shared, and I love these, and I want to share them with you. I believe oftentimes we're held back by pessimism, first of all. Maybe it's because you don't think it's going to work, so you don't even put in the work. And that negative mindset is going to keep you from doing something that could be very impactful. Is it 100% guaranteed that'll work? No, but there's a good chance it will, so go for it. All right, beyond pessimism, there's procrastination. And oftentimes, you're so busy doing urgent work that you don't do this important work, like matching gifts and going to talk to those donors. So don't procrastinate this. Number 3 is perfectionism. It's never actually going to be done because it's never good enough. You're not quite ready. It's not quite there. And I know I can be guilty of this. And so I want to encourage you to call it good enough and get out there in the world and talk to people and get those matching gifts, because your cause is important and it needs this. And finally, sometimes our own pride can get in the way. And we're maybe worried, what if I fail? And what if I'm rejected? How does that look for my reputation or for others to see that? And so don't let your own pride stand in the way either. And ultimately, all of these, I think, are some form of fear that holds us back. And it's okay sometimes to have that fear, but I love this quote, and I wanted to end on this before I allow you to meet some friends who have experienced the incredible impact of matching gifts. I wanted to finish with this quote. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the assessment that something else is more important than fear. So Franklin Roosevelt said that, and I wanted to just say your cause, your mission is more important than that fear. And so get out there, raise matching gifts so you can raise more money, so you can help more people and do more good.
In Masterclass and using matching funds, what we learned is you can bring other people on and to become part of your excitement with a matching fund gift. So someone who is willing to give a gift of $250, they're thinking about giving it, they might decide to give it, but if they hear that there's a matching fund opportunity out there, we saw those donations coming so much quicker because people like to double their money. They want to give you something, and if they know they can make a bigger difference, they will. I would say with matching funds, when I go back and look at the numbers, at least half of our $50,000 before the end of the campaign came in. And I would say matching funds, half of that came from a matching fund opportunity. It wasn't just a direct member of our community, a parent who decided to engage in that. It was a donor outside of our community who got really excited by potentially watching numbers go up. So it was absolutely half of the money we raised was because of matching funds.
Our matching fund experience, we went directly to our board. Those are your biggest advocates. They should be, your biggest cheerleaders, your A-team, as we called them in the master class. And our board has a requirement that as a board is going to contribute a certain amount. And we typically said, hey, it has to be in the first quarter of the year. But we thought, well, hey, let's make this more strategic, and the board is going to have this matching gift. So we were able to come out and say, hey, we have a $10,000 matching gift for this event. Our matching fund was probably 45% of our overall received during the day. But I would say that the ability to step out and say, hey, community members, constituents, things like that, hey, we've already got $10,000 in the bank of our $20,000 goal. I know that brought a lot of excitement.
When we were talking about matching funds during Masterclass, we had a challenge to actually contact 5 people that we thought we could meet with. And I, during class, actually started texting people. And before the class was over, I actually had a lunch meeting set up. And so I went to that lunch meeting, and I think that building relationship ahead of time is something that's really important. I believe relationship is key. And so in that master class, we were taught that asking for a match really should not be something that we should be so scared about. If we've developed a good relationship with that donor team member, then sitting down with them and going in with a heart of wanting to learn from them, asking their advice, what they see about your nonprofit, advice that they would give on the actual NWA Gives campaign, invite them into that, and then the ask comes very naturally. So we knew we wanted to secure a match for NWA Gives, at least one. We had to start somewhere. And so we strive very hard to develop relationships with our donor team members. And so we looked at past giving and kind of designated individuals to ask. And so, for example, one of our matches literally was someone that has given in the past, and so we had developed a relationship with them. I asked to meet with them, went out and had a beautiful lunch together, and just asked them. It was almost like a SWOT analysis. I asked them, what are our strengths at Hub of Hope? What are our weaknesses? What are our opportunities and threats that you see? And it invited them into the conversation to truly be a part of what we're doing and where we're going. And then from there, the ask came so natural. In fact, for me, it actually came because they said, we want to give again this year, and how can we do that? And I said, funny you should ask, because I would love to see if you would like to provide a match for NWA Gives. And so we broke their gift into two different opportunities for them to give, and used that first gift as a match. So at the very end of NWA Gives that day, our donor friend called to see how we were doing. And we hadn't met our goal yet, and she said, why don't we put up the other portion of what we were going to donate this year as a match? And so they did that. And so immediately that gift was doubled, and it put us right at our goal for NWA Gives. So don't be afraid to ask. I think we make match asks more difficult than what they really are. And if you have already spent time building relationship with your donor team members, then that ask comes very naturally. It's not an ask for money, yes it is, but it's also an ask to come. You are a part of our team, and we know that this is a way that you have supported in the past. This is the way that you have demonstrated your teamwork in the past, so come and be a part of this special day.